Hello and welcome to AmassGames. Here you'll see the top 30 board games of all time, having played over 1,650. So boardies, up in number 30 we have Root. This is ranked 28th of all time, so very similar to where I position it. High in the war and the strategy sector as well. This is an asymmetrical game. You can play cooperatively or you can play it competitively. I've only ever seen it played competitively, that's what I played it. It's a game that had many print runs as well. I play it with the Riverfolk expansion frequently. I love the characters in that too. Very clever idea, kind of a re-implementation or a follow-up to the game Vast by the same designer. So, very, very cute theme. I think that's what really appeals to lots of people. And yeah, Leader Games and Colwell were involved with that before. So, it's a very small box and it packs a lot into it. It's quite a nice game which takes about half an hour per player. And let's go straight into what's coming up, into what's inside the box. So over here you can see the board. Basically cats can start in loads of locations early on and move around. The birds get more and more, so you have to kind of action cue them, and then they kind of go by the wayside. You also basically implode, then Parliament gets too strong and they tussle. You've also got other characters who can basically just slide amongst there and nowhere else. You have cards which use different abilities. Dice that you don't use too much, but they can be used for battle. It's a very interesting game, and it's a game I haven't played recently. It's better with more players. At least 3 is what I recommend. 29, another Ticket to Ride, the first or the second of the small box games. This is London, a very cute theme. So basically, a nice quick 15-minute game. You'll have various different carriages, or in this case, buses, and it's bus routes, not the underground, which will be interesting. That's due to the licensing reasons. Very cool pictures. I think they're my favourite pictures on the cars. That's another reason why I rate it so highly. Nice short routes. It's still quite possible to get bottlenecks though, quite a lot more than you think. Very bright and colourful, lovely pieces, nice to play. And I have played the very large, the XXL version, whereby the size of a bus is basically the width of your laptop if you're using a laptop. Up next, Lost Cities. So this year re-implemented from 1999 to Celtis, which went on to win Game of the Year, stealing the thunder from many other potential games. Whereas Lost Cities is better. Lost Cities by Rainer Knizia, a game whereby you're playing down cards, you want to play low value cards and keep on adding to them, and therefore you're going to get better scores. So unfortunately there are very few decent pictures out there currently for Lost Cities. That's an example. Yeah, the more cards you get out, the better it will be. You're only scoring typically for 3 areas from what I can recall, and I have talked about the board game as well. You might have noticed as well, my name is now AmassGames, not Boulderman. Up next, another game by Rainer Knizia. Remember Dr. Rainer Knizia, over 660 plus games, this German legend, has made this as a reimplementation of the 1992 game Ingenious, involving hex tiles. These are oblongs. And what's very interesting about Axio by Pegasus Spieler is this is in fact my picture, as you can see down here. And what you're doing here is you're playing tiles that go next to each other. And if I played, say, I don't know, this tile here, and there's already these here, I score 1, 2, 3, 4 points. I don't score what I've laid down. Okay, and then what you're doing then is if you completely surround one of these pyramids, you can move up on any track what it's next to. So you move up on 3 green and a red, and these are all going to move up, and whatever you've scored least in is your final score. So my score here is 5, and of course that might not be very good if someone else has got their lowest back marker higher up. So it's about all being consistent across the board and knowing when to go for it. It's a wonderful game, even solo. That is the 2-player area. Player 3 is the white, and the outer grey is for 4 players. Axio Rotor is great too. It's a nice small game. I think I prefer Axio though, much better for me. Blue Lagoon. So this is out by Blue Orange. Another game by Rainer Knizia. That's interesting. 3 back-to-backs. So this is a very interesting game. I'm going to show you a picture of it now. And it's a beautiful layout, very much Moana themed. Different islands. You want to be in more islands to get points. You want points based on the kind of different things. You might want berries, coconuts, bamboo, such like. And also, when you lay out one of your little villages here, then you're looking to go out and reach different islands. The more islands you connect, the better. You play the game twice, so wherever you connect up to, you basically can make a settlement, and then you're going to be going out from settlements again. Lovely game. It's one of those games whereby you see hexes only just, and it works very, very nicely. This was my best game of 2018. Up next, Deep Sea Adventure. A tiny game by Oink, in my opinion, and many others. It's the best game by Oink. And this is a small little push-your-luck game whereby you all have to share oxygen in this tank. And as you go out, you're eventually going to be spending oxygen. You're rolling dice, which are values 1 to 3, so you could roll a 6, move all day long, better. And as you're going out, you need to decide obviously where you want to be stopping. So in this instance, you obviously want to get more high value things because these are values 0 to 15, with these guys being 12, 13, 14, 15 points. So something to be aware of. The further you go, the better, but then you're carrying back more treasures. The more treasures you carry back, it takes off 1 movement value of your pip and uses up oxygen as well. So you're heavier, you'll use up more oxygen. So get out and get back safely. This is a game you play over 3 rounds. Whatever you bring back, great. Whatever holes you get, you fill in with these little circular void markers basically, and it shrinks it up. Another thing, whoever doesn't get back without any oxygen basically creates an extra pile of 3 at the end. And yes, you could go out and grab them more later. You can end and win this game with 1 point. People often go out and push the luck too far, and they do not make it back. They discard all their stuff, they jettison it and head back. So they do get back, but they've made no progress. Up next, chess. So very interesting to have a combinatorial game, chess, so high up. It isn't highly appreciated by some, purely due to the fact that you end up having to, be aware that the best player is going to win. And it's, there's so many textbooks written about this. But for me, if I was on a desert island, I think I'd rather play this than any other game I've talked about, because I just feel that there are fewer solvable options. I think there's loads of ways you can play chess, loads of ways you can react to chess, but you can't always do that on all those other games. There's lots of variants of chess, which I've talked about in other videos, so there might be some playlists on that. Check out the abstract strategy. Different pieces though, I'm sure you know about chess and check out the videos, but you have pawns, you have knights, you have kings, queens, rooks, bishops, those kind of things. They have different ways of moving, but ultimately you're going to try and use them collectively to potentially reduce the defense of your opponent and ultimately capture their king. So up next, Codenames, a party game, and it won Game of the Year. In my opinion, it should have won, and it's fantastic that it did, by Vlada Flatl, who's made quite a different kind of game with Codenames. It's a cooperative game whereby you're competing against, a semi-cooperative game, a cooperative game, but a team game. So I might want to try and get Bottle and Force and say Smash, maybe. And if that's the case, then say I'm on the red team and say I want to do that based on this layout, and there's 200 of these, you can turn them around, and red starts first because of red around the outside. And then I wanted them to touch it and then say, right, you got Bottle. And then they touch that, and then of course they get red as well. So the first person to collectively get all the respective requirements on their board to win the game. If you get a mistake, you don't get an extra turn, and obviously you're going to put a bystander on there too. So you need to do it before blue wins. So you might want to say, smash 2, which means I want you to try and guess 2 things correctly. Excellent game. Up next, Crosstalk. Now, Crosstalk is pretty much identical to the game we just talked about, Codenames. The difference being is you kind of get to choose your own words. That I found really appealing. I will be doing a video for this. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button and the notification, and you'll see all the videos coming. Additionally, hit the like button should be enjoying the content. Hit the description to check everything else out in there, including some links through to other videos I'm talking about today. And also, by all means, chuck something in the comments. I'll reply very quickly. So you can do this game standing up. It's very good to play standing up. Basically, you're going to have a shared word, maybe, or a sort of shared word, but you're trying to guess your opponent's clue word for their team do it. So they might use the word grass, and then you might say cut, but what they're really trying to get you to get is the word cow or something like that. So you're trying to be subtle and trying to aid your team more than your opponent. And there's a bit more nuance than that, but it's very, very slight, very clever in how you can think about it. Up next, we have Lie. We've talked about Perudo or Liar's Dice. This is another game in the kind of Paco Gum series of games, or Paco Games series by Chris Handy, and this is Lie. This is a game whereby you are basically doing Liar's Dice, you're bluffing, you're trying to increase what you have in your hand, and you're saying, okay, so right now I've got, say, 3 3s. So someone says 2 3s, someone says 3 4s. I then say 5 3s because I've got 3 of them already, and I hoped with everyone else out they've got at least 1 3 as well. In addition to that, you've also got this joker, which if you're playing with that, it means I've now got 4, and I'm very close to actually correctly doing it, i.e. predicting what we have out. Because if someone says, no, I think you're lying, there aren't 5 3s collectively around the table, everyone reveals, and obviously if I didn't or we did not have enough, then I'll lose one of my cards. However, which means everyone shuffles their cards up again, and then this time round you're just going to be using fewer cards. You're going to have 4 next time, and if you're down to 0, you're out. But also, if there's only one player left, or whoever's got the most cards at the end will win. So if I did have it correct, and there were at least 5, the person who called me out, then they will lose. And there's a video for that too. So thanks very much for watching. I look forward to bringing you another video very soon. All the best. Bye for now.